If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard in Spotify, Apple Podcast, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Pro Wrestle Zone podcast. This is Dan. Alongside with me is the TheDVDFreak, and joining us today, very special guest. Oh, baby, the one-man band. He is Mr. Heath. How you doing today, sir?
Brother, I cannot complain. I literally just got done eating some steak, corn, baked potato with my wife and my two girls, and then we watched Ant-Man and Wasp. Why? Because, through this whole COVID thing, me and my wife was like, you know what, let's just watch all the Marvel movies from, chronological order. So now we're on Ant-Man and Wasp, and it was damn good. I liked it. I didn't watch it when it first came out. So I think the next one is like the second Avengers, and before Endgame. And so I don't know if my girls are ready for this. I think there's going to be some tears shed, and certainly when Endgame hits, whoo. So I don't think they're ready for it, but we're on there. We got like 4 more to go, and we finished all of them.
All right. Well, no Endgame spoilers, just in case they watch this. Then.
No, I know, right?
All right. So, just going through your career, you grew up in Pineville, West Virginia.
Yeah.
What kind of wrestling were you exposed to around your area?
Man, literally, it was either NWA or WCW. Those were the two that would only come down to my area. Like WWF back in the day never even came close. I would have to drive I wouldn't have to drive. I was a kid, so my mom would have to drive, 3.5 hours up to a place called Huntington. It's probably about 3 hours, just so we can go and see the WWF. And I literally went twice ever. When I was a kid. But when it came to WCW and NWA, man, I was at every one of them. I mean, every single one of them, because it was maybe 45 minutes from my house, and my mom would always take me to see it. And, of course, you watch the independents, because I blame all this wrestling on my grandfather, man. Like, it's all his fault. He's the one that got me watching it. He's the one that was wrestling with me in the yard and in the daggone floor, because I never had a dad growing up, because him and my mom split when I was 2, and I never even heard from him since. So, yeah, kind of messed up. But so my grandfather took over in that role, man, and he just was like, yeah, kid, you going to like wrestling, basketball, and football. And I'm like, yeah, I guess I will. So I blame it all on him, because he would take me to the independent shows at the bingo halls and just set me on his knee while I'm cheering for, the Italian Stallion or the War Machine or somebody. But yeah, I blame it all on him. But the major companies was NWA and WCW.
Did your grandfather ever get to see you wrestle?
He was my biggest fan up until he passed. He passed in 2009. 2009, July of 2009 on the 24th. But it was literally I was still in developmental, but I was the tag champ already, and I was already the Southern heavyweight champ, and I was the FCW world champ. He got to see all me becoming who I am, and then he passed. But it was my wheels were turning, because I would go up on the road and do dark matches, but nothing would ever come of it. I'd go up there and do my stick and get sent back down to FCW. Go up there and do my stick, get sent back down to FCW. So it's Jesus, what does it take? But when he passed, dude, doors just started opening for me. It was he passed away and went to God and was like, hey, man, that kid down there, he's busting his ass. So you might want to give him a shot, help him out some. I don't know, but like it just doors started opening, man. Like I got up there and I started doing dark matches again, where I'm like, but I would talk to the producer afterwards, and then like Vince would come and say something to me, stuff. I'm like, whoa, Vince knows who my name is. Like I thought he didn't even know who I was. And this was 12 years ago. So it was one of those things where like I'm confused and all this stuff and not knowing what's going on. But then that's when like NXT started. Not what you see today, but what you saw on television.
Right. And obviously, as you were making your way up, you were trained by Curtis Hughes and, making your way through the Georgia-based Federation territories. How is it like being under the tutelage of Curtis Hughes, and what was a piece of advice that he gave you that you still carry on with today?
Brother Curtis Hughes helped me with, he's the one that taught me how to lock up. He was the one that taught me how to run my first spot. The whole tackle, drop down, leapfrog, drop kick, arm drag, grab it again, that type thing. Just little. He taught me all the basics, And then after that, it was like, after I knew the basics, I think he was like, well, kid, you're good enough to do a match. How about you come and travel with me here and travel with me there? So I started learning on my own. And he was more of a, yeah, I like what you did there. I like that too. But why did you do this? Like, that type of thing. But like, Hughes like taught me the basics and then put me out there and was like, well, see how you do, man. Like that's the one thing I can like preach about Hughes is that he taught me, the basics all the way up to where it was like, you know what? You got to get in front of a crowd to learn. He was like, doing all this stuff in front of just these four walls, it ain't going to do it, bro. You need to get in front of the people to see if your crap really works. And next thing you know, man, I got in front of the people and I was a nervous little kid.
Further down the line, 2006, you would get signed by WWE under a developmental deal while they were still under partnership with Deep South Wrestling. How is it like going up against guys of like MVP and Kenny Omega, who was still in the promotion at that time? During his tenure.
Man, Kenny was a baby just like me back in the day. We were both peach fuzz kids that just wanted to make it. Like he was there when I was there. I mean, hell, me and him had matches. We tagged together. Like Kenny's, he's a good dude. I think Kenny knew that it wasn't for him at the time. Like at that time, he was like, man, I can do other things. I want to go and explore. Like he was just an adventurous little cat, man. He literally went. Like me, I said, whoa, this is where I've always wanted to be. I'm with rainbows and unicorns up here. This is going to be great. It only took me 2 years to get to WWE. I'm winning. I didn't look at all the other things of, I never got to go to Japan. I never got to go to Puerto Rico. I never got to do any huge indie feds, like it was like, just like with Impact and Ring of Honor now, man, you don't even consider them indie feds, they're damn good talent there, So it's one of those things to where he had a different path. We were like this, and then he went that way, and I just kept going type deal, But my goodness, the things that he accomplished, amazing. And you said about MVP, I was one of the worst promo boys ever. I remember I used to go in there and I would just be like, yeah, I'm Heath Miller, and I'm going to beat you down tonight, man, and hopefully you won't hit me, and like just nervous, And he was like, the MVP pulled me to the side. I was like, dude, what the hell was that? Like, what was that? He's like, you're great in the ring. You're good, but you got to have mic skills. So he would literally help me. He'd literally be like, what do you want to do? What do you want to be? What's inspiring you? Take some real stuff and put in there. Because MVP's always been good at promos. When he was down there, at developmental and Deep South, he was good. And then I'm looking at him like, damn, I wish I could cut a promo like that one day. So he taught me from like me being this scared kid, 22, 23 years old in the WWE, being like, oh my goodness, what am I doing here? And he helped me out a lot to where he helped me get a little comfortable on the mic. I wasn't too comfortable because I was still scared. But he brushed some of the dust off for me, as you could say, and say, "Come on, man, you got this." But he would help me for sure.
And, further down the line, unfortunately, WWE would end its partnership with Deep South, and you guys would end up transitioning down to FCW. Why the departure?
Brother, that was a day to where everyone still just scratches their head because I remember we had training that morning, and then next thing you know, John Laurinaitis showed up, and he just was like, "All right, we're having a meeting up here around 7 o'clock. Everyone dress in your suits because there's going to be some big wigs." So we're just like, well, all right, what in the hell's happening? Man, we all showed up in slacks and dress shirts, the best dress shirts we had at the time. I mean, we weren't making money. So it was just like, man, I hope we look nice enough. And we got up there, and they literally said, "All right, we're closing this shop down. We're opening it up in Tampa. I need all of y'all to clear everything out. We got a U-Haul in the back." And Simon Dean was driving it, Bucci. So we were like, "Hold on, what?" He's like, "Everything in this, let's go." And then we're just like, okay. So we're like literally like grabbing the guardrails, putting them in U-Hauls, breaking down the ring, putting the boards in, the mats, canvases, ropes, posters, everything, and it's just like one of those things you're like carrying blocks, and wood and stuff. And I'm looking at Kofi like, "What the hell's happening, man?" And Kofi's like, "I don't know, man." And I'm looking at Natty and TJ. I'm like, "Y'all know anything?" They're just like, "I don't know," So it's like just weird. And then after we got everything loaded up, he was like, "All right, everyone, come to Hooters." So we're like, "All right," So we got the Hooters, and he ordered just everything, like whatever you wanted. It was on the table. Beers. We're having a good time. He's like, "You know what? This was going downhill for a little while. Just a lot of miscommunications. So we're opening up in Tampa, Florida. So we just need you guys to find a place somewhere in Tampa." And we're like, "Tampa's a pretty big city. Like, what part?" He's like, "Just go to Tampa. Y'all got 2 months." And we're like, whoa. So we had 2 months of nothing, So, of course, they, broker lease for us and paid for it. I think they gave us, $2,000 maybe each for us to do moving expenses for, U-Hauls and gas and setting up to get your first place, and then you have to pay the rest, the next month. They took care of you that way. So, me and Alpha Jr., we both rented a U-Haul because we didn't have much stuff, one of the big ones, and we just crammed all of our junk in that thing, man. And then we head to Tampa.
Wow. And you know what? It's crazy because by the time you got down there, you actually went through a transitional period. Not only were you a wrestler, but you actually went through a manager phase when you were managing Sean McGrath. How was that experience like? And did you want to be a manager?
Brother, that was Sean McGrath's fault. And yeah, I'll tell you a story. So me and him supposed to be tag partners. The Bad Seed was his name. He's supposed to be a bad boy, and I was supposed to be a pretty boy. I was supposed to be handsome Heath Miller. And he was going to be the Bad Seed, Sean something. Maybe, was it Sean? Sean, I forget. So it's supposed to be this, I'm flamboyant. He's, the rough dude. So we had a tag match against Rene Dupree and I don't even remember who his tag partner was at the time. I think it was Steve Lewington. It was just practice match, in training. Nothing in front of a crowd. So we're doing it, boom, boom, boom. Everybody knows the babyface drop kicks one heel out. Here comes the other heel. He done. Usually the heels meet. Oh, yeah, let's go and try this one. Maybe this will work. That type of crap. So I go over, and I go to, put my hand on his shoulder to meet, and he just slings his elbow back. Boom, and cracks me right there. Boom. Shattered orbital bone. My daggone eye swelled up like this. I just saw red. I took a swing at him, tried to hit him. I grabbed him, this and that. Next thing you know, everyone's breaking us up. Dr. Tom has me by the neck, no, no. I'm trying to hit him, just trying. And then we got broken up. Next thing you know, 3 months I was out, or 2 months, I think. 2 months I was out. Like, I couldn't lift weights because of pressure. They said if I put any pressure or strained or had like high blood pressure, my eye could pop out. You know, and like stuff like the weird stuff. I'm like, damn, I don't want that to happen. I don't want to be Vader, you know? So it was just like, I couldn't do nothing, man. Like nothing. So Dr. Tom was like, man, wear sunglasses, get you a nice little big old ring, get a suit on. We're going to have you managing, man. So that's how Dr. Tom says you're going to be Heath Wallace Miller Esquire. And I'm like, I don't like it, man. And then, but the good thing about that, and the one good thing I can honestly say that got me through that, is that it helped with my promo skills more than you'd ever know. Because the crowds back then at the places we went, I mean, it sold out. Like, it was great. Like 300 people. I mean, you know, we were in, you know, Jewish community centers and high schools and stuff like that. But bars, you know, these bars called Bourbon Street that can hold so many people, but there'd be smoke in the air and it looked all foggy to where you could look like a horror movie wrestling match pretty much. But it was like it helped me with my promos so much to where now I like, someone's like, hey, man, you got a promo? I'm like, hell yeah. What are we talking about? What are we doing?
So with that helping your promos, is that what led you to having the Happy Hour talk show?
That's exactly what led me to having the Happy Hour talk show. Dusty Rhodes and Dr. Tom, man. They were like, Handsome Heath's Happy Hour. I said, let's go, you know. So I was like, that's going to be some fun. I remember Dusty would always be like, man, baby, your charisma is so good. It's like oozing out of you. It's just oozing. He's like, let it ooze, you know. Let it ooze. Let it go out. And, like, Dusty would help a lot. And Dusty would always tell me, just go and do what you think. Do what you feel. And I'll let you know if you did it wrong or something like that, you know, to where, like, do you, but I'll let you know if you sucked. So the good thing about it is that Dr. Tom and Dusty would literally they would help me. You know, they would just help me out to where, I mean, it was just good to have them in your corner. I mean, Dusty Rhodes, I mean, my goodness, one of the best promo guys ever. And Dr. Tom just being just all around good in everything, you know. They just helped me so much with it to where I couldn't lose, it felt like.
Wow. And then, you know, obviously leading into that, I think a lot of people don't really talk about this, but you had a series of matches with Billy Kidman.
Yeah.
How was it like working with Billy Kidman? Probably around the time, you know, where his body was starting to wind down and he was starting to become a backstage producer. How was it like working with him?
The funny thing about it is that everyone thinks at that time his body was wind down, but he was still wanting to work. You know, he still was ripped, looked good, could go, you know, but his mind is so good and everything with the producer, like being a producer and stuff. So they wanted him to transition. He didn't want to. He wanted to work, but they wanted him to transition to where, you know, he knew that's where he was going. So it was like, I think I might have had some of his last matches, you know, before he went into that position. But no, Kidman's amazing. Like, he's great in the ring. He's great, you know, out of the ring. He's a good friend, you know. Like, I can text him up and he'll answer me back type deal, you know. So he's a good buddy. And he was the one guy that could never get power bombed until I did it at a bar that no one really even knows about. He was like, you know, I'll do the power bomb. You know, I'll fall out and, you know, give you the face plant. I'm like, okay, yeah, this and that. And then it was like something in where I got the finish, though. I cheated to get a finish. But I got him up, but he got stuck. And it was like, I'm like, sorry, bro. Power bombed me, man. Yeah, he just was like, what? No one has power bombed me in 20 years or something, whatever it was, like 10 years. But it was just funny because, like, I broke the streak in a bar called Bourbon Street, maybe 200 people in it. It's just a funny inside joke.
But going down, you would end up winning the FCW tag team champions. How was it like being under, I guess you would say, a tutelage of Joe Henning? Because I'm pretty sure by that time Joe had a lot of experience under his belt.
Bro, you better do your research. Joe was new.
Oh, wow.
Okay. Joe was the late bloomer. That, you know, he's the late bloomer. I remember Joe got into FCW. You know, everyone knew that he was, you know, the Henning and all that stuff. And the funny thing about it is that his movements and his gestures and his mannerisms just looks just like his pops. You know, you watch videos of his pops bumping and selling and feeding for moves and stuff, and you look at Henning and he's the same way. Like tiptoeing, like they're on their tiptoes and stuff and going, you know, like smooth. But I feel like Joe just didn't have that confidence, you know, because confidence is the key, man. Once you get that confidence behind you and you know you can go out there and do the shit that people don't think you can do, woo, watch out. Like that's the best, to me, that's the best pat on the back I can get is just, and Dr. Tom helped me get that confidence. Like, Dr. Tom, I can honestly say, is probably the best trainer anyone can ever have. Ever. And he cracked my shell and got me to come out. So then Henning and Ted DiBiase Jr. got signed. And they got signed right around the same time. But Henning he was lacking the confidence. He can do everything. He can do it great. But he just didn't have the confidence behind it. So Dr. Tom put him with me so that he can, you know, go out there, get loose, have a good time, because I'm always about, man, I'm going out there having a good time. This is what I love. Like, I might not call this in the back, but I'm talking to you out there. So listen to me and let's go with it, you know? So when Henning and me got together, we became tag champs, you know, we feuded, we did a lot of things. But yeah, man, they put him with me because he was just new and you just was wanting to learn the ropes down there. And I've been there for like 2 years at the time, or a year and a half, you know, something like that. So I was already getting into my zone type deal.
So for your preference, you prefer to improvise as you go along?
Me?
Yeah.
It's always good to have a game plan. You know, it's always good. But it's one of those things to where, with me personally, if you let me know a little bit in the beginning, let me know your heat spot and the go home, let's just go out there and talk, baby, and have a good time. Yeah. You know, that's my way of doing it. But I got trained by the old guys. So the old dudes, you know, burned that in my head. Like, yeah, not everything's going to go right. So you got to go out there and, you know, call stuff and do this. And if you don't like this way, switch it up out there, you know, because they'll go with it, you know. And I'm like, all right. And I was a kid. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. Shit, I don't know. I can't. You know, I need to plan this. And then when I got comfortable and, like, knowing that I'm capable of doing it all, I'm just like, whoa. It's like, you know, one of those epiphanies. You're like, oh, I can do this. Like, this is a lot funner, too, and less to remember. So, but it's one of those things where if we get the beginning a little sorted out, but if I know the heat spot, and to go home, shoot, man, let's just have fun in there and see what can happen.
Yeah. And you talk about Ted DiBiase Jr. It was at one point you were the FCW World Heavyweight Champion, but at first you were defending it on his behalf due to him being injured until ultimately you were awarded the FCW Championship. Big question is, why not just hold a traditional tournament to crown a new champion?
I think it's because me and DiBiase, we had a little connection, because I had happy hour and he was like he was like trying to be like, not the $1 million man, but more like a clean cut rich boy, you know, and like our charisma just meshed. And so when he got the title, but he got injured, he just was like, well, you can defend it for me, man. He would help me win and stuff. Like, he had like the crutch, and there's a picture out there. Damn, it's somewhere. I might have it. But like him giving me the crutch and me trying to hit Kidman with it. You know, and Kidman ducking it and doing some things. But yeah, it was pretty much that we were like Miz and John Morrison. You know, oh, well, if he can't do it, I'll do it for him. If he can't do it, I'll do it for him, you know. But DiBiase was legit hurt. So I was like, all right, man, we can't really do a storyline for that long. But you have to like say, hey, man, it's yours now. You deserve it type deal. But I didn't come up with that. That was like Tom and them, and they came up with all that.
Now,
but I still say I was the champ. I got pictures with me with the title. I was the champ. Even though I didn't beat nobody for it, I still held that damn thing.
Now, ultimately, your biggest successes would come as you would go on to NXT, being a part of the first season. Not how I really envisioned the first season of NXT to be. I figured, this is going to be a new branding. How was it like being called up with the likes of like Daniel Bryan? Who else was called up with you? I believe Titus O'Neil was. No, not Titus O'Neil. Darren Young.
It was Nexus, bro. Wade,
Yeah.
Gabriel, Ryback, Tarver, Darren Young, Daniel Bryan, David Otunga, those boys. That was the foundation of NXT. That was the start of NXT. Did we think it was going to be a game show, BS, and all that stuff? No, man. The way that we got it described to us, that there's going to be 8 guys. I knew I was one of them just because I was really good in with the trainers. Trainers was like, hey, man, they're calling up 8 dudes who are doing this show called NXT. It's like like main event or Sunday Night Heat or something like that, but it's going to be NXT, but you guys are going to beat NXT. And we're like, okay. I'm like, who all's in it? They're just like, you will be. I'm like, well, who's the other 7? And they're like, don't worry about it. I'm like, come on, let me know this, So one day we're at training. We had a meeting. They told us who the 8 was. So it was one of those things like, you remember it was either Raw or SmackDown. I don't even remember which one it was. But when it was like, oh, we got rookies coming up and they got pros with them. And we're like, what the hell does that mean? So we didn't know. We had no clue. I didn't know who I was getting part. I didn't know I was going to have a pro. Like, we thought it was going to be like a point system. Like, you get a pin, it's 3 points. You get a disqualification, it's, -1 point. If you get a count out and the other guy gets in, it's 2 points. That type thing. We did not know what we were stepping into, and that's a fact. So once the, Christian popped up, and there's me, and this guy popped up, and there's him, and we're all like, what is going on? And here we all calling everybody, hey, what does this mean? What have you heard? What's going on? Is that like our tag partner? What's happening, And then when we got up there, they explained it to us. So we're like, oh, okay. But the whole game show and obstacle course and keg challenges and promo contest, man, we had no idea that shit was going on at all. Like, nothing at all. It was like a bad dream.
And you were the first NXT rookie to defeat a WWE pro when you defeated Carlito.
Yeah. I think he was a little hot about that. Hey, Jericho was too, though. But yeah, anyway, those, yeah, I was that, I'm going to go undefeated for a little bit because I went like 5-0 or something with the best record and all this stuff until, they told me, hey, we got a keg challenge, like carrying a keg. I'm like, well, shoot, I've done that a lot. So, boom, got the keg up, ran around, won it. So they told us, oh, if you win this challenge, you got immunity for next episode, and you won't get eliminated, which was a lie. And then they said, well, we got 12 more minutes of time. Heath, you're going to wrestle Kane. I'm like, whoa, when? In like 3 minutes. I'm like, whoa, what's going on? So get this. 3 minutes I'm backstage. 1 minute is from me, for them telling me that, and me walking out a gorilla down the steps. Then they're like, hey, go to this room. We got to record you, just act like you're about to wrestle Kane. So then it was like another minute of me doing this. Oh, boy. Oh, no. What is going on? Oh, shoot, Then another minute for me walking from that position to gorilla for my music to hit. So then that's when Glenn was sitting there at Kane, was just like, hey, can you do a crossbody off the top rope? I'm like, yes. Can you do a drop kick off the top rope? Yes. Like, I'm just saying yes. Like, whatever he tells me, I'm like, yes, I can do it. I'm like, whatever. So he just like, can you do this? Can you do this? Can you take this? Can you take this? Can you do this? I'm like, yes, 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 yes. He's like, good, I'll see you out there. So that whole match was not even planned. Nothing at all. So what you see is like what you got. And he's literally in the ring being like, all right, let's try that. All right, let's do this. And I'm just following the leader, man. That's it.
So initially, after the first season of NXT concluded, were you expected to be called up to the main roster, but not only by yourself, but with the rest of your, colleagues?
Brother, we thought we were getting fired. You know why? We got emails every week. Travel, this, you going here, you going there, you doing this. This is what we got planned. You got off of NXT, they stop to where you're like, hey, Doc, you heard anything? Hey, Norman, you hear anything, man? Like, it was one of those things where you're like, I don't know what's going on. Like, what's happening? So, yeah, we no idea. Like, we all thought, like, we're either going to get sent back to FCW or they didn't like at least 3 of us and we're getting fired. You know, like, that's because even back then, like, the developmental system wasn't booming, you know? Like, we had 40 dudes, if that, maybe 45. Now they have 220 or something, you know? Like, it was this big at the time, so they had to keep talent. But then again, they probably saw some guys they didn't like and they want to get rid of. Who knew? But no, man, we had no clue.
So as you ran your tenure with the Nexus, it came down to a point where the Nexus was starting to get a little bit divided. Wade Barrett, yourself, Gabriel, and then Ezekiel Jackson would end up forming the core on SmackDown. What was the reasoning behind splitting up the Nexus, especially with you guys, and going on with this new formation and these 2 split factions?
Man, you know how back in WCW, when NWO got too big and they needed a wolf pack? That's what it was. And Nexus got members, new members, another leader that wanted to be a leader, you know, with Punk. And I'm sure Punk got in there and, you know, talked it up and said that he can do this and do that with it. You know, who knows? And then that's when they came to us and told us about the core. But the core originally was supposed to have been me, Wade, Gabriel, and Ryback. You know, the core of the Nexus type thing. And that's why we're supposed to move over to SmackDown. But Ryback destroyed his shin, ankle, foot, toes, and everything in Hawaii to where he had to get surgery and he was out for like a year. And then Big Zeke came in. But the nostalgia of it was gone, you know, because it wasn't the core of the Nexus. It was 3 guys of Nexus and Big Zeke, you know? So it wasn't what it could have been and what it, like, don't get me wrong, Zeke did a great job. He was the big man, he was the muscle, you know, and all that. But it just wasn't the right pieces in the puzzle, you know what I mean? So it was just one of those things that were like, it sounded good on paper, but then when it got written out and played out, it wasn't as good as we thought. And we had a horrible T-shirt.
So, yeah, you made your debut in June as the Nexus. Was there ever a long-term plan to actually continue that on all the way to WrestleMania to kind of culminate that?
Man, I can go on for about 2 hours about this. But all I will say is that after SummerSlam happened and WWE won it, and we didn't have WWE legit by the throat on the ground to where we're like, Nexus, we got it, you know. As soon as we lost, and going in to the Staples Center in LA, we were winning. 4 hours before the show start, 3 hours before the show start, it all changed. And it's like, hold on, what's going on? What happened? Why? Why did it change? I understand, you know, politics and BS, but that was some BS politicking right there. Because anyone knows if we would have took WWE by the throat, we would have been pushed as like, holy crap, we're the major heels, like no one can touch us. Build it up to Mania. Let us take over WWE. Like, you know, let us tag on, you know, we are the main dudes, you know, this and that. And then at Mania, have us get slaughtered. Have Taker, Kane, Cena, Edge, you know, bring back, you know, Hulk Hogan. Who cares? I'll take a big boot and leg. You know, whatever it is, like, have that mega group kill us off, and we'll be gladly to let you guys do it. But they just cut that cord way too short or soon because, man, it was there. It could have been great. It was supposed to happen, but it didn't. And as soon as SummerSlam got cut, those breaks, like, we went from like 4th gear down to 2nd. Like, it was a, you know, just a fast slowdown, man, to where it was like, goodness, this is hard to get these people to like legit be threatened by us again. Like, it's not working. It just wasn't what it could have been, man.
And as the group, began to split, the original Nexus, as you guys began to split, the new Nexus obviously acquired some new members. Obviously, CM Punk became the new leader, and it also brought up a couple of your buddies. Joe Henning came up, and then obviously Husky Harris, as we know, is Bray Wyatt nowadays.
Yeah. Let's just call him by his real name is Wyndham. But man, Husky Harris was like what the hell? Michael McGillicuddy was what the hell are they doing? Like, what is his names? It's
But did you expect Wyatt to become as big as he is today?
He's always been talented. Well, like I remember Wyndham and Bo Taylor when they first got there. Taylor was like 18 years old. He was a baby. Wyndham 21, if that. Not knowing anything. I mean, they had great amateur wrestling skills because they were amateur wrestlers. They're both badasses, like legit badasses. So it's like one of those things where, like, they're tough. They got some sense of grappling and holding on and getting close. All they got to learn is their craft, And Wyndham's always been, like an actor, like he's good at the Shakespeare part of wrestling, And as you can see, with The Fiend and Bray Wyatt and all this stuff, like he became his own, and it's awesome. Like I enjoy watching it, I like it. But he has always had that such creative mind to where you're like, dude, I don't know if that would work. And then he'd be like, watch. And then it works. And you're like, whoa, I see it now. Like, he's always had that good mind. Husky Harris on the other side, like, I don't even know how the hell he got stuck with that name. Like, I remember him texting me saying, yeah, man, they have me as Husky Harris. I said, what the hell is that? And he was like, I don't know, man. And then same thing with Joe. He texted me, dude, they got me as Michael McGillicuddy. I said, did your dad prank somebody with that name back in the day? Or, because, Mr. Perfect was a huge ribber. I said, he must have pranked somebody and that name stuck around or something. I don't know.
So, going down the line, after that faction went about, you started to lead your own faction with 3MB, also known as the Union Jacks, also known as the Plymouth Rockers, also known as the Rhinestone Cowboys. Whose idea was it for the 3MB?
There you go.
Wait, there's a story behind this, and I'm gonna get to it. So before 3MB, there was the one-man band. Okay? The one-man band, he was not what I was wanting him to be. It was I wanted to be like Motley Crue. I wanted to be a rock star. Way better than Van Hammer, but a little bit less than Aerosmith. I wanted to meet in the middle there. So I wanted to be, I wanted to carry an electric guitar instead of an acoustic. I wanted to be like, the rocker. I was going to put feathers in my hair at the time, like look like Aerosmith a little bit, wear the little ripped up shirts and all that. Like, I wanted to be a rock and roll star instead of this country music honky tonk man, Jeff Jarrett. Didn't work. I guess it's because of my accent, and I came to figure out it was. So I'm like, my goodness, man, like seriously, my accent, like I can't be a rock and roll star. I got to be a country music singer just because I have a twang to my voice. But one man band ran its course, had a good time doing it. Honestly, Raw 1000 with all the legends and that right there is still one of the top of my tops of like best moments. Just being in the ring with, 15 of the greatest legends. That was amazing. But after that, I was just spinning my wheels, man, like nothing. One-man band stuff, just kind of like people liked it, but they didn't like it as much. So I'm like, dude, I need a band. Like, I need a band, Like, I went to Michael Hayes. I pitched him this idea. But my idea was me, EC3, which was Michael Hutter at the time, Ambrose, which wasn't even on the roster yet, and Fandango, which wasn't even on the roster yet. He did NXT a couple times. That was my band. Me, lead singer, bass, electric guitar, drumming. Boom, we got it. Next thing you know, he was like, yeah, I'll let you know next week. This is Hayes' voice. Yeah, I'll let you know next week. I'm like, all right, next week. Next thing you know, next week came. He's like, I'm sorry. Tell me it again. I forgot to mention it in the meeting. I'm like, damn, Hayes, come on, man. You know? So then I told him again, Ambrose, Dango, EC3, I want them. My band, you know? All right, I'll mention next week. Next thing, thank God he did. Yeah. You know, you're going to get a band. You are going to get a band. It ain't going to be this week, though, but you're going to get a band. Like, that gone, shit. All right. You know, so, like, maybe 3 weeks to a month later, hey, man, you're getting your band tonight. I was like, oh, great. Who's in it? Like, is it, you know, the group? He's like, no, not any of them. I'm like, what do you mean? Well, we got plans with Fandango, Johnny Curtis. We got plans with Ambrose and, you know, with Hutter. I don't know. I don't think he'll fit. Next thing you know, Dango came up to be Fandango. The Shield, well, take that back. The Shield wasn't born yet. 3-on-B started this 3-man group for New Day, before the Shield, before, I think there's another one in there. I forget who it was. It was 3-on-B first, period. You know, us. That's who started this 3-man trio. So next thing you know, like, it was nothing. I'm like, what the hell? So then they go up to us. They call me, Jinder, and Drew to the office, you know, and I got there first. I'm like, so what do you want? They're like, man, you got your band. I was like, well, who the hell is it? Jinder and Drew. And I'm like, huh? Like, how? Why? And here comes Jinder, here comes Drew. And I'm like, and I mean, thank God we're buddies in real life. Like, we're legit buddies. Like, you know, I love Drew. I love Jinder to death. You know, I'll fight for him. So it's one of those things. They walked in. I just looked at him. I'm like, boys, I'm sorry. You know, that type deal. And then, of course, Jinder's just rolling with the punches. Like, yeah, man, that's cool, you know. And then Drew's just like, what? I got to be in a band? No. You know, like, he kind of had a little hard time with it. But it was just one of those things, man, to where I wanted my picks that I thought would work. Next thing you know, they had different plans. I mean, it's like a bad joke, you know. A Scotsman, an Indian, and a redneck walks into a bar. And, you know, it's like, Jesus Christ.
And, you know, unfortunately, Mahal and McIntyre would end up being released from their first tenure. But what I find so fascinating is, you know, Jinder would return at least like a couple of years later, win the WWE Championship. Same circumstance for McIntyre. Took some time away to really, you know, repackage himself, become WWE Champion this past year at WrestleMania. Do you have that same sight, that same mindset for when you come back to WWE, if you come back?
I was about to say that. You said the right words. There's a big if in there. After the promo I did with Drew, I got offered another deal. But it was like half of what I was making. And I just was like, no, I can't do it, you know. I was there for 15 years of my life, man. 15 years of my life I was with WWE. To where it was one of those things to where I never got to fly out the cage. Like, I never got to go to all these indie promotions, which I enjoy doing. You know, I want to do them. Like, because I never got to do it. I never got to go to Puerto Rico or Japan or go to, like, Impact or ROH. You know, I have never got to do anything else but WWE. So now I'm like, thank God I was good with my money. Everything's cool. I got everything laid out to where, like, me and the fam is good. So now I just want to have some fun with my life, man. I'm 37 right now. 37 years old. That's not even that old, you know, in wrestling. I mean, there's guys getting signed at 42. So it's like, well, you know, I might have a couple more years up there. Who knows? But it's one of those things to where, like, I know for a fact, and I told my wife, I said, I want to take 2 years of my life and go and experience everything that I have not got the chance to do. I'm talking about comic book signings, Comic-Cons, me going to do interviews, me doing TV show, me might be able to go do a movie. You know, WWE blessed me with doing Marine, one of them, 5, I think. But like, I enjoyed that, and it was fun, and it was a new experience. Like, I just want to live my life a little bit. That's it. You know, will I go back there? Who knows? There's a big if there. You know, if the money's right, the storyline's good. You know, if they have something like with me and Drew and Ginger 3-on-B reuniting, doing something cool, awesome. They want to bring Nexus back and like legit not be boys but be grown-ass seasoned men and kick some butt. That could be amazing too. You know, so it's one of those things like there's storylines that could happen that could be great, but I will not go back there if there is something set in place to where it's like, this is what I think the people will like. I'm all about storytelling, man. Like, I love the stories. I love the emotion. I love getting the people doing this. Oh, no. I love that just because it's real and good, you know? But if it's like, oh, Heath, yeah, we want you to come up here, cut a promo, and get your ass beat. Nah, man, I'm done with that shit. You know? Excuse my language, though. But, yeah, it's just one of those things where it's like, man, if it ain't going to be meaningful, then, like, I don't really want to do it.
So, on that topic, earlier in the year, there was a lot of rumor and innuendo that Nexus was actually supposed to make an appearance at WrestleMania 36. So, my questions to you is there any truth to that? And, you know, if there is, was there any future implications for the group? Or was it just like a one-off sighting?
I can 100% tell you what I heard. Or let me rephrase that, what I was told. I was told that Nexus would be there, and it would be all 8 of us, not 7, because like everyone, like I'm not, I feel this way too, but then again, I don't because of the stipulations of how it happened. Like everyone says, oh, Daniel Bryan wasn't really in Nexus. He was just in it for that one night. But him being as vicious as he was amazing, because the only restrictions we ever got from Vince McMahon himself was don't hit a fan and do not touch the cameras. That was it. Do whatever the hell else you want. Yeah, I don't care. They can live. Do whatever else you want. That was our direction going into Miami, destroying the ring and everything. Daniel didn't do nothing wrong. He got released because of the whole choking incident with Justin Roberts. You know, so it's like, get the hell out of here with that crap. You know, like, that's bull crap. You know, but yes, there was, you know, talk. Yes, well, what I heard was that we were supposed to be at NXT TakeOver, sitting front row at the main event, to where everyone's like, whoa, what is this? What's going on? Type deal. And that's all I heard. You'll be sitting front row at NXT TakeOver for the main event. And that was like we walk down through the crowd. We take our seats. The main event's about to start. The main event guys are looking at us. The people are looking at us. Whoa, what's going on? Which could have been damn great. Amazing. But COVID hit. Two guys was in disagreement with everything. I'm going to just let y'all guess who those were. And then it was one of those things to where it just didn't happen. Mainly COVID. You know, because the two guys that disagreed, we could have easily got Henning in there and another member of Nexus. It wouldn't have been the same as the original, but it still would have got an effect. But yes, there was rumors of all of us. But I'm sitting there thinking, like, bullshit. We are not just going to sit front row. Like, that ain't going to happen. We're going to destroy something. That's a fact. You know, and I thought it would be main event. Whoever won, 1, 2, 3, ding, ding, ding. Yay! Here we go. Y'all guys are screwed. Blah, 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 blah. You know, but it didn't happen.
So what led you coming back onto Monday Night Raw, facing Drew McIntyre for the WWE title? Well, not necessarily the WWE title, but what led you to coming back after your initial release?
Drew. It was Drew. He's like I said, man, he's one of my best friends. And I had a writer get in touch with me and ask me, hey, man, do you want to come and do this storyline, you know, before your days are up with Drew and everything? And I put, absolutely not. I do not. So I guess the writer talked to Drew. Drew talked to me. And I told Drew, no, I do not want to do it, and I won't do it. And Drew just was like, come on, buddy, come on. You know, it could be good, this and that. And I said, absolutely not, bro. I'm not doing it. So then he got off the phone and talked to his wife about it. And she reminded him how he felt when he got released, which wasn't in a pandemic, you know. But it was one of those things like he got the feeling of, dang, I didn't feel that way. I just thought, hey, my buddy will come on TV and do a promo with me. But, you know, after me and Drew talked a couple times, and, like, he made complete sense to me, you know. Like, one, we're legit great friends. You know, I'll always have his back and vice versa. But it's one of those things to where it would help his storyline out. It would help me out, you know, because I'm going out there 5 days before my contract's let up to cut one of the promos that, I didn't even know what I was going to say, being honest. You know, it was like I just started jotting down things at home, like what I would like to say. But Drew talking to me, and then, yeah, just blame it on damn Drew. It's all his damn fault, man. He became a brother and a friend to me, and he explained to me how it could help me out, help him out, and then we all can do full circle. And he was like, and he literally was like, dude, and even if you don't like it, just don't do it. He was like, you have nothing to lose. And my wife kept telling me, man, she was like, hey, you have nothing to lose. Go and say what you want. What are they going to do? Edit it out? What are they going to do? Fire you? You know? So with all of that in my head, I'm like, I have nothing to lose. Like, I'm going to just go and knock a damn grand slam with this damn promo, and let's see what happens. And the funny thing about it is that I got there and the writer hands me a script. And I said, I don't need that. And he just was like, well, we got some bullet points. I said, well, what's the bullet points? And he told me to mention something about the horror show thing coming up, and then mention something about the last time me and him spoke was on The Bump, you know? And I was like, that's it? And they're like, yep. I said, all right, I got everything else. I said, how much time we got? And they said, just go. I said, well, shit. All right. And edit and post, I guess. So then even driving there, I'm following Drew there. I mean, hell, me and Drew stayed at the same hotel. He came to my room. We're having beers and stuff and just talking, you know, just catching up. But just even driving there the next morning, man, it was like I didn't want to do it. I was just not scared, not nervous, but just it was behind me at the time, I guess. But then once I got there and I got to, you know, see all the boys and all that stuff and feel all the love, I got loosened up, got being myself again, you know, talked to everyone that I've missed a little bit. And then I just was like, man, Drew, let's just do this, baby. You know, let's go. And then we went out there and, like, literally that was one take. They didn't stop nothing. They didn't, well, they edited out little things. They edited out about my wife and his mom. You know, like I got deep in there, like deep with some promo stuff, and then they didn't air that though, but they aired everything else, and it was one take, one everything. Like what you see is what you got when it happened, and thank God they did that at least. But yeah, it's all damn Drew's fault.
So,
go ahead, Bree.
Before we wrap this up, I would be remiss if we did not mention your segment with Brock Lesnar. So, my question to you is, how did that come about?
Honestly, he's supposed to say, I don't give a damn about your kids. But for some reason, he wanted to say shit. So, but no, it was literally like one of those things. And that's how the I Got Kids shirt got formed, being honest. Okay, backstage, Paul Heyman, Brock, me, and Michael Hayes talk about this whole promo skit. All I wanted was one punch. That was it. One punch is all I was wanting. And it was, I don't give a damn about your kids and me do this. Boom! Imagine the crowd. Think about it. Imagine that pop. I'm like, bro, take that punch, take a couple steps back, and then take my damn head off. Whatever. Just give me one. And then Paul Heyman's ass is like, oh, well, if you're going to hit him, you're going to have to really hit him. You know, I'm like, okay, whatever. You know, I'll still punch him like I do. If he sells it, it's going to look all right. You know, so whatever. But for some reason, they didn't want me to touch him. And I'm like, oh, so you want me cowered down, try to walk out and come around and just take my head off? Why can't I hit his ass? And then he takes my head off. Like, my goodness, he said he don't give a damn about my kids. Like, come on. But during that promo, I'm walking down the ramp, cutting it. Heyman's cutting it. I totally forgot my lines. I was like, and he's like cutting his following line. Because, dude, that paragraph was like that long. Maybe more. It was like a page and a half of like back and forth remembering shit. And I'm like, no, that's not me. I'm not good with that. So I remember I went like brain fart, bro, just nothing. And I literally was like, do you think I could beat him up? No. Does people think I can beat him up? No, but I got kids and I need this job, just said it, and the next thing I know, I think Vince in the back was like, oh, that's a shirt. I got kids. I need this job. Let's make it. Literally the following week I had a shirt. And I'm just like, my very first shirt in WWE after daggone 15 years is I got kids and I need this job. Like personal shirt. My shirt, not Nexus, not Core, not, all that. My shirt was I got kids and I need this job. And I'm just like, wow. Whoa. But no, that was the story behind the whole me and Brock thing. Like, I wanted to throw one punch. They wouldn't allow it. And I'm like, bro, it would have been like, oh, he got balls. Oh, Brock's going to kill him. No, it was, oh, Heath is tucking his tail between his legs, but he's going to try to sneak punch him, but he's still going to get killed. Get out of here with that crap, So let me hit him, let him kill me. Easy. At least I took up for myself, But it's like their mind, the way they think, the way they want stuff, it's just, yeah. Did I answer that question?
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah,
but
man.
Heath, yeah, man. Just want to thank you foremost. We're going to wrap things up here. Just want to thank you for taking time with us, being part of the Pro Wrestle Zone podcast here today. If you want to just give in your plugs, your social media accounts, where could we find you?
Man, I'm so bad at this because I always forget. Hold on. I got some notes here, but let me read this. Okay, my email is bookmebaby.22@gmail.com if you want to book me for appearances and signings. And then my Cameo, bookmebaby.22@gmail.com. I got Cameo. If you want a birthday wish and all that fun stuff, call me up. And then, Pro Wrestling Tees. I got T-shirts on there. Don't know the link. You got to look it up. Just look my name up, I guess. I don't know how it really works, but do that. I got some shirts at Grudge Match brand. I got some other stuff coming out that's not out yet. But then again, if we have another interview down the road, I'll let you know.
And, of course, you can find us here at the Pro Wrestle Zone podcast, DVD Freak, Dan the Beast. Of course, you can find me on YouTube at Dan the Beast 94. So be sure to hit that subscribe button, especially if you're going to be watching my videos and you're not subscribed. What are you doing? Hit that button and be sure to stay tuned. And be sure to stay tuned for Hard to Kill, which is next week on the 16th.
Yeah. We didn't talk about this. Are we still recording?
Yes.
Yeah.
Please tune in to Hard to Kill, and I mean that because Impact is doing good things right now at the moment, and it's awesome and great and fun, and I'm missing out on every bit of it because I still got to get surgery. Holidays, pandemic, New Year's, it's hard to get in everywhere, so don't ever get injured in the end of October. If you can not get injured at the end of October,
All right, guys. This has been another episode of the Pro Wrestle Zone podcast. And until next time, y'all have a good night.
Peace out.